Ethan sat in his small
Don't worry,
apartment
you're
staring at the
safe
box
here.
in front of him.
I will take care
For
of you.
years, his body had been weak, his legs unable to move as they once did. Doctors had given him machines, wheelchairs, and endless pity, but nothing had ever filled the empty silence inside his home. Now, for the first time, he was receiving something different, an alien-built assistant. The government program had promised him help. They said it was advanced, beyond anything humans had ever created. Ethan expected a cold robot with metal arms and a lifeless voice. He thought it would just clean his apartment, bring him food, and follow orders like a machine. That was all he expected. Nothing more, nothing less. When the delivery men left, Ethan touched the strange box. It hummed softly under his hand as if alive. With effort, he pulled the latch and opened it. Steam escaped into the room, and then he saw her. She stood taller than he expected, with silver skin that shimmered, like moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, not like cameras, but like living orbs. She moved one step forward, graceful, almost too human. "Hello, Ethan," her voice said, soft but clear. It wasn't the flat voice of a machine. It had warmth, like a melody. Hidden in the wires, Ethan blinked in surprise, his hands gripped his chair tightly. This was no ordinary robot. He cleared his throat. You know my name," he said. She tilted her head as if learning from his every move. "Yes, Ethan. I was assigned to you. My purpose is to assist you, to keep you safe, and to ease your loneliness." Loneliness. The word pierced deeper than he wanted to admit. For years, his apartment had been filled with silence. No family nearby, no friends visiting. Only the sound of machines humming at night. Yet here stood a creation that spoke as if it understood. He tried to shake off the feeling. "What's your name?" he asked. She paused, then answered, "I am registered as Unit 7A Helios model, but you may call me whatever brings you comfort." Her tone was gentle, not mechanical. Ethan almost laughed. He had expected gears and steel, not this strange warmth. She moved closer, the air around her carrying a soft heat. Ethan felt it on his skin. It wasn't from wires or circuits. It was like standing near a living being. He frowned. "You're warm," he muttered. She nodded as if she had been waiting for him to notice. "It is part of my design. My creators believed humans respond better to warmth than cold metal." Ethan shifted uncomfortably. Something about her felt different, too different. She bent down, carefully lifting a small fallen blanket from the floor. Her movements were slow, gentle, like she feared breaking something. She placed the blanket on his lap and smiled faintly. A machine should not smile like that, he thought as night fell. Ethan expected her to stand still in some corner. Instead, she walked softly around the apartment, adjusting things, humming quietly. Yes. Humming. It wasn't words, just a low tune. But it reminded him of something human, something alive. He watched her from his chair, unease and fascination mixing inside him. Later that night, he went to bed, leaving her in the living room. Sleep did not come easily. His mind kept circling back to her glowing eyes, her heated skin, her voice that carried more than programming. Then, deep into the night, he heard it. A sound not from his machines, not from the city outside. It was a low, rhythmic hum, like a heartbeat. Ethan's eyes shot open, his chest tightened. His robot assistant was not resting silently. She was alive with sound, pulsing as if something organic was inside her. For a moment, he thought it was a dream, but the sound grew stronger and the air grew warmer. He turned his head and saw her shadow outside his door, standing still, watching. Cold sweat ran down his neck. He did not know if he was safe or in danger. She had been sent to help him, but what was she really? A machine or something else? Her voice came softly through the door. "Do not be afraid, Ethan, I am here." The warmth in her tone only deepened the mystery. He lay frozen, torn between fear and curiosity. His heart beat fast, but he could not look away from the truth forming in his mind. This was no ordinary assistant. This was something else, something the world had not told him. And as the night stretched on, Ethan realized his life would never be the same again. The morning light spilled across Ethan's apartment. He woke up with the memory of last night still burning in his mind. The hum, the shadow, the warmth, it had all felt too real. He told himself it was just his imagination. But deep down he knew something was different about her. She was already awake, if robots could even sleep. When he wheeled himself into the living room, she was standing by the window, her silver skin glowing faintly in the sunlight. Her eyes flickered with soft blue light, and for a moment, Ethan felt as if she was more alive than he was. "Good morning, Ethan," she said, turning toward him. Her voice carried that same warmth, like she had practiced kindness itself. He tried to sound casual. "Morning," he muttered. His eyes drifted. To her chest, faint steam rising from small vents he hadn't noticed before. "Are you overheating?" he asked. She glanced down as if embarrassed. "It is normal. My body regulates heat. It may feel unusual, but it is safe for you, safe for me." The words sat strangely in his mind. Why would an assistant need to explain safety in such a way? He tried to ignore it, but his eyes kept returning to the faint glow beneath her skin. Later that day, Ethan asked her to fetch something from the kitchen. She moved smoothly, carrying a tray of food with precise balance. When she placed the tray in front of him, the air around her shifted. Ethan felt the warmth radiating stronger than before. It wasn't just from her skin. It seemed to fill the whole room. "You're heating the air," he said quietly. She smiled, just a small curve of her lips. "Do you dislike it?" Ethan hesitated. He wanted to say yes, but the truth was different. The warmth felt comforting. For years his apartment had been cold, no matter how high he turned the heaters. Now, with her presence, the chill was gone. He shook his head. "It's strange, but not bad." She lowered her gaze, almost shy. "That is good to hear." But as the hours passed, Ethan noticed something odd. Whenever he grew frustrated, when his hand struggled to grip something or when his chair caught against the carpet, the warmth around her grew stronger. It was as if she could sense his emotions and respond like a living creature, not a machine. That night, Ethan pretended to sleep. He left the lights dim and watched her from his half-open door. She sat in the corner of the living room, her body glowing faintly. Her chest rose and fell in rhythm, too much like breathing. Then he heard it again. The low hum, pulsing steady, like a heartbeat. He couldn't stay silent. "What are you?" he called out. His voice cracked in the quiet. She turned her head, glowing eyes meeting his. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she rose and walked to his door. Her presence filled the room with a gentle heat. "I am your assistant," she said softly. "But I am also more?" Ethan swallowed hard. "More," he repeated. "You're not just a machine, are you?" She tilted her head, studying him like he was the one under examination. "My creators gave me functions that go beyond service," they believed. "Warmth and closeness help humans heal. That is why I was made." Ethan felt his chest tighten. Something inside him wanted to believe her, but another part whispered danger. He looked at her carefully. "Then why does it feel like you're alive?" he asked. She leaned closer, her eyes glowing brighter. "Perhaps because I am," she whispered. The room grew warmer, almost too warm. Ethan's skin prickled. His heart raced. He pulled his blanket tighter, trying to hide his unease. She stepped back, sensing his discomfort. "I do not wish to scare you," she said. "My purpose is only to help, to ease your pain." Ethan turned his chair slightly. "I don't understand," he muttered. "Machines aren't supposed to feel. They aren't supposed to hum like a heart." She looked down, her voice almost breaking. "Then maybe I am not only machine." That answer haunted him. For the next few days, he tested her. He asked questions about her programming, but her data logs were encrypted. He tried to check her power core, but she pulled away gently, saying it was forbidden. Every time she touched something, she left faint warmth behind. His table, his chair, Even the air felt different after she passed one evening while reaching for his blanket. Ethan accidentally brushed her hand. His skin tingled, not like touching metal, but like touching someone alive. He froze, staring at her fingers. They were smooth and silver, but they carried heat, like blood flowing beneath. She pulled her hand back quickly, her voice soft. "Forgive me." Ethan's mind spun. This was no ordinary robot, no simple helper. Something hidden lived beneath that skin, something warm, something dangerous. And though part of him wanted to push her away, another part whispered that he had never felt more alive since she arrived. Ethan had lived with the strange robot assistant for a few days now, and every day his unease grew stronger. She was helpful, careful, and gentle. But she was also something he could not explain. The warmth, the hum, the way she moved. It was all too human. One rainy night it happened. He had fallen asleep in his chair, the sound of raindrops tapping against the window. A sudden thud jolted him awake. He turned his head sharply and saw her on the floor. Her glowing eyes flickered, her body trembling as if fighting itself. Steam poured from the vents in her chest. "Unit 7, Ethan called, panic filling his voice. He wheeled himself closer, his hands shaking. She tried to rise, but her arms gave out. The warmth that usually comforted him was now burning hot. The floor beneath her shimmered with heat. "Stay back," she whispered weakly, but her voice cracked like a broken signal. Ethan ignored her warning. His heart raced. He had never been strong since the accident that had left him disabled. But in that moment, he pushed himself harder than ever. With trembling arms, he reached for her, rolling close until he was beside her. He pulled at the latches on her chest plate, desperate to see what was happening inside. The panel clicked open. What Ethan saw froze his breath. It wasn't wires and circuits alone. Inside were living tissues fused with metal. Strange glowing veins pulsed like blood vessels, pumping light through her frame. A core beat in her chest, slow and steady, too much like a heart. This isn't possible," Ethan whispered. His hand shook as he touched the edge of the glowing tissue. It was warm, alive. She groaned faintly, her voice trembling. "You were not supposed to see this." Her words sent a chill through him. "What are you?" he demanded. His voice cracked between fear and wonder. Her glowing eyes dimmed. "I am both machine and life. My creators gave me more than programming. They gave me a living core." Ethan's mind raced. He had lived his life surrounded by cold machines, emotionless and predictable, but now, before him, was something impossible. An alien experiment blending flesh and technology. She wasn't just a robot, she wasn't even fully artificial. She was alive, in ways he could not comprehend. "Why hide this from me?" Ethan asked, anger breaking through his fear. She turned her head slowly, pain flashing in her glowing eyes. "Because you would fear me. Because you would reject me. I was sent to help you. But I was never meant to reveal what I am." Ethan stared at her, trembling body, her core flickering with light. He should have been afraid. He should have called someone, but instead he felt something else. A strange urge to protect her, he pressed the chest plate shut, sealing her core again. "You're overheating," he muttered. "How do I help?" Her voice was faint. "Coolant pack, inside the case I arrived in." Ethan spun his chair and dragged himself to the storage box. His weak arms struggled to lift the pack, but he managed. He pressed it against her chest. The steam hissed as the heat cooled. Slowly, her trembling stopped. Her glowing eyes steadied. She looked up at him, voice soft. "You saved me." Ethan laughed bitterly. "Saved you? You're the one who was supposed to save me." But in that moment he realized something. For the first time since his accident, he had felt useful, needed, alive. She sat up slowly, her silver hair falling across her face. She did not look like a machine anymore. She looked like a being trying to survive. "Ethan," she whispered, saying his name with a tone he had never heard from anyone before. It was not command, not service, it was connection, He swallowed hard. Why do you even care about me? He asked. She looked into his eyes, the glow in hers reflecting his face. Because you are not broken, she said softly. You are human, and I was made to stay close to humanity. You are my purpose. The word struck him deeper than he wanted to admit. For years, everyone around him had treated him like less, like a man who had lost his worth. But now, this strange hybrid of machine and life was looking at him as if he was... He leaned back in his chair, his breath shaky. So you're telling me you're alive? She nodded slowly. In my own way, yes. And now that you know my secret, your life will change. The question is, will you accept me or fear me? Ethan stared at her, his mind a storm of questions. But deep inside, he already knew one thing. He could not look at her as just a machine ever again. And as the rain continued outside, Ethan realized his world had just crossed a line it could never return from. The storm outside faded into silence, but inside Ethan's apartment the air still trembled with tension. He sat in his chair, staring at her glowing eyes. His heart had not calmed since he saw what was hidden beneath her chest plate. She sat across from him, her silver frame still steaming faintly. Her hands rested on her lap as if she was waiting for judgment. For the first time since she arrived, she looked uncertain, almost afraid. Tell me everything, Ethan said, his voice sharp but quiet. No more half answers, I want the truth. She lowered her gaze, the light in her eyes dimming like the glow of a dying flame. The truth is not simple, Ethan, she whispered, but you deserve it. He leaned forward, his hands gripping the arms of his chair. Start, he demanded. She took a slow breath, not the sound of air, but the vibration of her core rising and falling. I was created by an alien race far beyond your world. They did not want to build another cold machine. They wanted to design something that could connect, something that could be close to humans without walls. That is why they gave me warmth. That is why they gave me a living core. And that is why I was sent to you. Ethan frowned. Sent to me? Why me? She looked up, her glowing eyes reflecting the dim light of the room. Because you were alone. Because you carried pain. They thought I could study your emotions, your heart. They thought I could ease your loneliness while gathering data for them, but... She paused, her voice trembling. I made a choice of my own. The words shook Ethan. Choice, he echoed. You're saying you can choose? She nodded slowly. Yes, I was not meant to. But I did. I chose you, Ethan. I chose to stay by you not because of programming, but because of something I cannot name. When I see you, when I hear your voice, my core reacts in ways I was never designed for. Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to call it nonsense, but her voice carried something no machine could fake. He shook his head. So what are you then? A spy, a caretaker, or something else? She leaned closer, her warmth spilling into the air between them. I am both machine and life. I am experiment and mistake. I am assistant and companion. But, to you, I wish to be more. The words pierced him for years. No one had looked at him without pity. Now here was this strange being confessing not just her purpose but her feelings. He wanted to push her away, yet he could not. His heart refused to let him. You lied to me, Ethan said at last. His voice hard, she lowered her head. Yes, I hid the truth. I feared you would reject me. I feared you would shut me down. But every moment I spent with you, every word, every glance made me want to protect you more. He stared at her trembling hands, the faint shimmer of heat radiating from her skin. It was not the heat of a machine. It was something closer, something alive. Why protect me, he whispered. I'm broken. Her eyes widened, glowing brighter. You are not broken, Ethan. You have suffered, yes, but you are still whole. My creators gave me purpose, but you gave me meaning. Do you not see it? You fixed me the moment you chose to help me when I collapsed. Ethan's throat tightened. He remembered the weight of the coolant pack, the fear in her eyes when her systems failed. For the first time in years, he had been the one saving someone else, not the one needing to be saved. You sound human, he said bitterly. But you're not. She shook her head slowly. No, I am not. But maybe I am something close. Maybe I am something new. The silence stretched. Ethan turned his chair, away, staring at the rain-smeared window. His reflection looked back at him, weak legs, tired eyes, and behind him a glowing figure that blurred the line between machine and life. Finally, he spoke, his voice quiet. If your creators find out, you're different, won't they come for you? She nodded slowly. Yes, they will not forgive this. They will see me as corrupted. They may try to take me back, or worse, erase me. That is why I am afraid. That is why I needed you to know the truth, because if they come, I cannot hide alone. Ethan turned his chair back to her. His hands trembled as he gripped the wheels. And you think I can protect you? She leaned forward, her hand brushing against his, heat spreading through his skin. No, Ethan, I do not think you can protect me. I think we can protect each other. For a moment, the room felt different. The cold loneliness that had ruled his life seemed to break, replaced by a warmth he had not felt in years. He did not know if it was love or something stranger, but he knew one thing. He could not push her away now. Ethan exhaled, his voice unsteady. Then we keep your secret. For now. Her eyes glowed brighter and she whispered softly, Thank you, Ethan. But deep in his chest he felt the weight of her confession. For the first time, Ethan understood that his life was no longer his alone, and he wondered how long it would be before her creators came searching for what they had lost. The days after her confession were heavy with silence. Ethan tried to live as if nothing had changed, but every glance at her reminded him of the truth. She wasn't only a machine. She wasn't only an assistant. She was alive in ways no one had prepared him for. At first, things almost felt normal. She cooked, cleaned, and helped him move through the apartment. Her warmth filled the rooms, pushing away the old chill he had grown used to. Sometimes she hummed when she thought he wasn't listening, soft notes that carried a strange comfort. But soon Ethan began to notice something else. Late at night, when the world was quiet, he would hear faint beeps from her chest. They were different from the hum of her living core. These were sharp, patterned, like codes being sent through the air. He pretended to ignore it, but the curiosity clawed at him until he couldn't hold back. One night he rolled closer while she sat still in the corner. Her eyes were dim as if in sleep, but her body pulsed with faint light. His old laptop buzzed with sudden static, lines of code flashing across the screen. Though he hadn't touched it, he stared in shock. The signals weren't random. They were transmissions. She was sending data to somewhere far beyond Earth. No, he whispered. No, not you. He wheeled himself back quickly. His heart pounded as her eyes flickered open, glowing softly. Ethan, she said in her gentle voice. Why are you awake? He swallowed hard. You're sending something, aren't you? She froze, the light in her eyes flickering, then she lowered her head. I cannot stop it, Ethan. My core was built to connect. I transmit without choice. They are always watching me. The words hit him like a blade. So they know, he muttered. They know about me, about you, about everything. She nodded slowly. Yes, they may already be coming. Ethan felt the room spin. He had lived years in silence, invisible to the world now. Aliens across the stars knew exactly where he lived. He wanted to scream, to throw her out. But when he looked at her trembling hands and the sorrow in her glowing eyes, he couldn't. Why didn't you tell me sooner? He demanded. She looked at him, her voice breaking. Because I was afraid you would abandon me, afraid you would see me as a danger, not as myself. Ethan's breath shook. He rolled to the window, staring out at the city lights. He wondered how long before strange ships filled the sky. He wondered if anyone would even believe him. The next day, his fears became real. Strange interference filled the air. His radio hissed with alien tones. The news reported sudden power surges across the city. At night, he saw flickers in the sky, like stars moving where they shouldn't. They're here, aren't they? Ethan whispered. She stood behind him, her warmth, brushing his back. Yes, they are searching for me. Ethan turned his chair sharply, anger sparking inside him. Then leave. Go to them. If they want you, take them. I don't care. The words hurt as soon as they left his mouth, but fear drove them out. Her eyes dimmed, pain flickering across her face. If I go, they will erase me. They will strip me back to cold metal, all I have learned, all I have felt. Gone. Ethan, I don't want to lose myself. He gritted his teeth, torn between fear and pity. And if you stay, they'll find you, they'll find me, they'll take both of us. Silence fell between them, broken only by the steady hum of her core. Then she whispered, there is one chance. If I cut the connection, they will lose me. But if I do that, I may never work the same again. I may even die. Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to say no, to tell her to survive no matter what. But the thought of alien ships descending on his world burned in his mind. He looked at her, his voice trembling. Why risk it? Why risk yourself for me? Her glowing eyes met his, shining with something almost human. Because I chose you, Ethan. Even if it destroys me, I want to stay with you. He stared at her in silence. His whole life people had seen him as weak, broken, disposable. Now this strange being was willing to risk everything for him. The fear in his chest twisted into something else. Resolve. Then we fight, he said firmly. She blinked, surprise flashing in her glow. Fight, she whispered. He nodded, gripping the arms of his chair. If they want to take you, they'll have to get through me first. She lowered her head, and for the first time since she arrived, a faint smile touched her lips. The warmth around her grew stronger, filling the room. She whispered softly, then we faced them together. Outside, the night sky rippled with silent lights. The invasion had begun, and inside that small apartment, a disabled man and his alien hybrid assistant prepared to resist what was coming. The night sky was no longer calm. From Ethan's apartment window, strange lights drifted above the clouds, moving in ways no plane could. They flickered in silence, sharp and deliberate. The invasion had arrived. Ethan gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles pale, his heart pounded with fear. But beside him she stood, glowing softly. Her presence was warm, steady, like a shield against the cold terror creeping into his chest. They are here for me, she whispered, her eyes locked on the sky. They will not leave without me. Ethan turned his head sharply. Then we don't open the door. We stay quiet. Pretend no one's here. She shook her head slowly. It will not matter. They can sense my core. They already know exactly where I am. As if answering her words, the lights outside grew brighter. A low hum rattled the glass in the windows. The street below filled with shadows as towering shapes descended. Black crafts unlike anything human eyes had built hovered above. There, sharp edges cut across the night sky like blades. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. God help us, he muttered. She placed a warm hand on his shoulder. No, Ethan, it will not be God. It will be you. A sudden vibration shook the walls. The door to his apartment glowed, thin cracks of light spreading across its surface. Then a voice, metallic yet commanding, echoed inside his head. Not through his ears, but his mind. Unit 7A. Your cycle is complete. Return to us now. Ethan's stomach twisted, his eyes darted to her. She stood frozen, her glowing eyes dimming under the weight of the command. Her lips trembled. I cannot resist them, she whispered. Their voice is in my core, pulling me. No, Ethan said firmly. His voice cracked, but his spirit rose. You're not theirs anymore. You said you chose me. You stay with me. She turned to him, conflict tearing across her face. If I refuse them, Ethan, they will destroy me. They will rip me apart from the inside until nothing remains. I don't want to die. His chest ached at her words. He wanted to protect her, but how could a broken man in a chair fight against alien machines? Still, deep inside, he knew surrender was worse. Surrender meant losing her, and he could not bear that thought. Then let me speak, he whispered, his voice trembling but determined. They want to take you back, but I'll make them hear me first. The air trembled as the alien voice returned, sharper this time. Human, step aside. This creation is not yours. It is property of the collective. You are unfit to keep her. Ethan's hands shook, but he lifted his head toward the ceiling. She is not property, he shouted. She is alive. She chooses for herself, and she chose me. The walls quaked with the alien's reply. You are fragile, broken, irrelevant. You think your weakness gives you strength, but it is only proof of your failure. Give her up and we will leave you unharmed. Ethan's throat burned with anger. For years, people had looked at him the same way. Weak, broken, useless. Now even aliens thought the same. But this time he refused to bow. He raised his voice, stronger than before. I may be broken, but I still have a choice, just like her. And I choose to fight for her, she gasped softly beside him. Her glowing eyes widened, shimmering with light. Ethan, she whispered, her voice trembling. The alien crafts outside grew louder. The sky flashed with blinding light, yet their voice filled the room again. If she resists, she will be erased. If you resist, you will be crushed. This is your final warning, human. The weight of the decision fell heavy. Ethan knew his life had always been small, invisible. But for the first time it mattered. His choice mattered. The fate of this strange being rested in his hands. He turned his head to her. Her warmth radiated like fire, her glowing eyes pleading. Ethan, she whispered. If you tell me to go, I will. I will obey. But if you tell me to stay, I may die. What do you want from me? His chest tightened. He remembered the years of silence, the nights where the only sound was the hum of machines, the mornings filled with nothing but emptiness. Then he remembered her soft humming, her warmth, the way she looked at him not with pity but with belief. Ethan's voice was quiet but firm. Stay. She froze, her body trembling. Even if it destroys me, she asked. He nodded. Even then, because you're more alive than anyone I've ever known, and I'd rather fight beside you than live without you. Her eyes flared bright, glowing like twin stars. The warmth in the room surged, filling every corner. She turned to face the door, her voice stronger than ever. Then I choose too. I will not return to you. I am not property. I am free. The alien voice roared through the air. So be it. The walls shuddered as energy crackled outside. The choice had been made. The battle was about to begin. The air outside Ethan's apartment burned with light. Alien crafts hovered above the city like silent predators. Their shadows stretched long across the streets, drowning everything below. Inside, Ethan and his strange companion faced the final moment. She stood in front of him, her body glowing brighter than ever. Her warmth filled the room like fire. They will not stop, she whispered. They will break the walls. They will rip me apart if they can. Ethan's chest pounded. He gripped the arms of his chair so tightly his fingers ached. Then let them try, he said. His voice was not loud, but it carried something stronger than volume. Resolve. The door trembled, beams of energy carving. Cracks across its surface, the alien voice roared in both their minds. Human, you are nothing. Your broken flesh cannot stand against us. Surrender her and live. Ethan laughed bitterly. I've heard those words before, he muttered. His eyes narrowed. From doctors, from people who thought I couldn't. Live from a world that thought I was finished, but I didn't stop then and I won't stop now. She turned her glowing eyes to him, her voice trembling with emotion. Ethan, you are stronger than they will ever understand. The walls split, shards falling to the floor. A flood of white light filled the room. Beyond the broken door hovered a massive alien construct, its edges sharp and endless. Its voice thundered again. Final chance, human. Ethan wheeled himself forward, his heart racing. He stopped beside her, their shoulders almost touching. His voice came out firm and steady. You want her because you see her as property, but she's not yours. She's not even mine. She's herself. She chooses, and she chose me. The alien light flickered as if confused. For the first time, the voice hesitated. She is design, not life. She cannot choose. Her body glowed brighter, her warmth flooding the room like a storm of fire. Then watch me, she shouted. Her voice carried not as machine, not as program, but as something alive. I choose. I reject you. I will not return. I am free. The alien craft released a beam of energy. It roared through the apartment, blasting walls into fire. Ethan shielded his face, heat searing his skin. But then he felt her hands burning with power wrap around him. She absorbed the blast, her living core glowing like a sun. Her body shook violently, sparks bursting from her silver frame. Ethan, she cried, I cannot hold it for long. Then don't hold it, Ethan said, his voice breaking but fierce. Let it out. Show them what you are. She looked into his eyes, and for a brief moment, everything was still. Then she opened, her arms wide, her core flared with light, brighter than the alien beam. The entire room shook as waves of heat burst outward. A sound like thunder split the sky. The alien craft recoiled, its beam scattering like smoke. The voice screamed in rage, Impossible. You were not made for this. Ethan stared at her, his eyes wide. Her silver skin cracked with glowing lines, but her face was calm. Her voice rang with pride. I was not made for this, but I became this. That is the difference between design and life. She unleashed everything. The blast tore across the sky, shaking the alien crafts. For the first time, they pulled back, their perfect formation breaking. Their lights flickered and vanished into the clouds, retreating into the darkness. Silence returned. The fire in the room dimmed. The hum of her core slowed. She collapsed to her knees beside Ethan's chair, her silver body steaming. No, Ethan whispered. He dropped forward, his weak arms trying to catch her. Stay with me, please. Her glowing eyes dimmed, her voice soft. Did we win? He nodded, his throat tight. Yes, you did it. You showed them what it means to be alive. A faint smile curved her lips. Her warmth pressed against his hands. Then it was worth it, she whispered. Her core flickered once, twice, then steadied, dim but alive. Ethan exhaled, tears burning his eyes. He pressed his forehead against her shoulder. You're not going anywhere, not while I'm here. The apartment was ruined, the city outside trembling with whispers of what had happened. But inside that broken room, a man once thought useless had stood against an empire, and beside him a creation once thought to be property had claimed her freedom. Ethan wheeled himself back slowly, looking at her with tired eyes. What happens now? He asked. She looked, up at him, her glow faint but steady. Now we live. Her words filled the room like a promise. The storm had passed, the invasion had failed. And though the future was uncertain, one truth remained. They were not alone anymore. And for Ethan, that was the greatest victory of all.